Alright, what I want to talk about is the windows. So what I'm going to do with this, well, first before the windows, let's talk about the wheel well. What I want to do with the wheel well, if I'm looking over here at this, I want to grab this edge. So I'm going to go ahead and just, I'm control clicking all of these to grab them all. Or conversely, I could just grab like this and then alt drag over the parts that I don't want. So either way, what I want to do is get this edge going from here all the way around to the other side of the wheel well. Then I'm going to go to my scale tool, and on the XY I'm just going to hold shift and click and drag this a little bit, and then I'm just going to move it down a little bit like so. So that's going to give me an edge to go around the wheel well, and that's going to be useful if I need to like raise stuff up, or if I need portions of this to get flat, for example, or whatever I might need. For example, I might need to grab these edges here, and let's just scale them up slightly. So if I take these and I was to let's just scale them back a little bit, and I'm going to move them up slightly, and we'll just fix the bottoms here. So like this, I might just bring it up until it seems to match, and this one I might bring it up to just go a little higher with that. And I could check that with our reference. What I'm going to do here is just go ahead and grab this edge, and I'm hitting control and right click. And actually I don't need to control right click, I can just right click is the same thing, and say connect. Click. I need to do a ring first, and then right click. So what I want to do here to select this ring is I'm going to click an edge, click ring, and then right click and say connect. And what I've got now is I've got a line that goes exactly in between these two edges, and I could take this edge and the first edge and just kind of pull them out a little bit. So if I pull this out a little bit, you can see I got a nice edge to that wheel well. Okay, so if I needed something like that, I could get it very easily. If I needed this to be closer, one of the easy ways I do it is I would just say I needed this to not be so wide here. I could go ahead and do another ring and right click and say connect again, and I could just grab this and delete it. So that might look a little more like the era of the car had more of a wheel well like that probably than a fatter one like we had previously. So that's the wheel well. Let's do and again, you could come in and with the smoothing group. I'm going to grab the whole thing, go down here to smoothing group. I'm just going to clear all and give it one smoothing group. And I might grab things like this window back here. So if I grab the easy way to do that is just grab these four, and I'm going to grow that selection, and just go ahead and just give this a different smoothing group. So now when I deselect the model and go off, you can see that window really easily. But let's make a front window for this. So what I want to do for the front window is I want to go ahead and just copy it over. So I'm going to go to symmetry for a modifier, and once I have that on, I'm going to right click and convert this to an editable poly. Then I'm just going to get the open edge, which is this, and I could just cap this if I wanted to. So why don't we just do it that way? I'll just right click and say cap, and once I have that done, I can click on edges and connect them. So if I right click and say connect, and you can see these edges don't line up exactly perfect. You may want to adjust that it may not matter. Let's just connect a few of these and we'll see what we get. So I can connect stuff over here and over here, and I'm not going to get anything going across because of the center line. So if I right click and say connect, those will just connect. And let's just connect this one here, here, and here. And we'll connect this one here. Like that. And what I want to do now is put some vertices going across. So I'm going to go to edge, click this edge, say ring, right click and say connect. And I could click an edge and believe I can just, oh wow, it doesn't work. I was hitting the colon key because colon is the repeat in Max. So I guess you would have to say ring and whoops, click edge, ring, right click and connect. Which is kind of a bummer, you have to do the whole thing. Alright, so if I grabbed some of these portions here, say in the middle, like these ones, I might just pull them out a little bit and up a little bit. And let's go to these areas that are next to that. And if I look at it from a top view, what I want to do is kind of just move them slightly to round it out. And let's look at it from a front view. And again, I want that to kind of round out a little bit. And then what I want to do is select this whole thing. So again, we'll just select these ones and we'll just do something like that. Actually, it's going to have to be like this, unfortunately. So if I grow that, I get one more ring around the whole thing. I'm going to right click and say inset. And just inset this a little bit. And let's right click again and say, or I could probably, let's try this. If I right click and say inset and come in a little bit, and then click again, I can go in a little bit more. So at this point, I would just move this window back a little bit. So something about like that. Okay, and you know, if you wanted to, like this edge, and it does get a little bit wanky right here. It's like, did you guys see this? How it kind of goes up right here in the center. I'm just gonna make sure I've only gotten these. See how the pivot point right here is here, and before it was over there? That's one clue that'll let you know that you're not selecting the right, that you've got some other kind of pivot somewhere else on the model. Is if you, when I say pivot, I meant vertice. But if I say I have a vertice back here that I accidentally selected, see how the pivot point is away from what I'm intending to move? Whenever you see that, that's a telltale sign that you have something else selected somewhere else on the model. Alright, so I hope this helps. And again, I would just come in here with and grab these. They happen to still be selected. If they weren't still selected, you could reselect them. You can also come up here and type in something like front window when you have a selection. And if I come and select something else and I go back and click on this, you'll see front window and you can select front window again, which is kind of convenient. I'm just going to give this the same other pivot point that I gave the back window. So I just selected number 2, and when I click off the model, now you can see the front and back windows are separate. So you would do the side window the same way, and then attack the headlights and the taillights and so on.